In game?
It's on my stream. It's called in game, isn't it? Because this is the first time we're actually doing this fucking live. The first ever live podcast recording. And people are hearing us.
Are we spoiling this, or we're going to do a non-spoiler review?
I feel like we can get away with spoiling little bits. I mean, I'll slap the spoiler on just in case. But if there's no spoilers, then I'll just take it off. But at the moment, I'll slap the spoiler warning before we even fucking do anything.
We're trying not to spoil anything, because Dee sat next to me and she's like, I'll watch it at some point, so.
She could have watched it with you and me.
She could have watched it with me, but she said she don't want to go cinema, so I couldn't be asked. So.
But yes, I'll slap it on here just in case. So at least there's a warning in case we say anything that we shouldn't say. But either way, hello and welcome to the Chattercade podcast for our first ever live edition. I've even slapped live on the fucking thumbnail. Big live. Because we've never done this live before.
When it's pre-recorded, it's going to be worse now.
Exactly. We always pre-record these episodes, 2 days before they usually due out. Unless I can bulk record with Alex random episodes to throw in. But yes, we.
I mean, it's a good start to live recording when I've got technical issues. Give me 2 seconds. I need to turn my headset on off. Carry on, Thor.
Fair enough. This is for the people that aren't experiencing Connor's issues, i.e. me.
Well, I think he's working now. He just keeps cutting out. Well, I think it's fine.
But yeah, check out podcast. We usually discuss media and either reviewing movies, talking games, or just talking random news things we spotted. But today we're doing
talking load of old
rubbish. Yes, I am the host, Dranking Thomas Hughes. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Zenny F _, who's currently in the middle of a sort.
Am I lagging or not?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Did you pass me the Xbox controller a minute? Pass me the controller a minute for the Xbox.
Let me guess, you got some uninstalling.
I'm not turning your video off. I'm making sure nothing's downloading because it's lagging. Oh, I'm opening the store. So this is why having live things.
This is why we pre-record everything.
No, he probably done it automatically. All right, everyone, calm down. There you go. All right, I think it's working.
Everyone calm down. It's only you getting crazy.
Everyone calm the fuck down.
But yes, you're currently stuck in your middle of your sword trap, aren't you? There. What's your trap like at the moment?
So basically, this one in the hand. It's playing music, really crap music, and the higher you put it, you gotta reach 5 for it to like blow into you. It's playing like mumble rap on number 5. It just blows your ears out. So you just gotta like turn it all the way. That's the trap. Well, I couldn't do it. I only got to 1.
Any particular reason you're in the trap? What have you done bad to get in this trap?
I don't know. Farted in the cinema or something.
You're the guy that fired in Oppenheimer.
Don't tell anyone that.
But yes, we're just, obviously I put the message out the other day saying we're doing this live rather than pre-recorded for Friday, and we're going to be talking Saw X. We're literally I would say just over an hour ago. It came out.
Yeah, just over now.
An hour and 40, almost 2 hours. Almost 2 hours ago, we finished watching it in the cinema, and this is our first impressions of the latest entry in this Saw franchise, which is the 10th entry, which is why it's called Saw X. Even though that's confusing because technically speaking, it's set between 1 and 2.
Should be called Saw 1.5.
They should have come up with some funky name. I mean, ever since the Saw franchise ended, they've been coming up with funky names. I mean, you had Jigsaw, you had Spiral. Like, you come up with something funky, not just go, let's just do what Fast and Furious have done recently and just slapped X next to it and being like, that's like really cool. At least with that, it makes sense because it fucking is like the 10th installment that's in that series in terms of it's actually at that point, it's actually that it legitimately is number 10, whereas this, technically speaking, is number 2.
Yeah, it's back on itself.
Even though I'm pretty certain like none of this ever I don't remember any of this ever getting referenced, but then again, it's been a long time since I've seen the early ones.
I can't remember it being referenced either. All the only thing I remember is obviously he goes to the hospital and the thing and like, oh, we can't treat your cancer. It's brain cancer. That was literally the only thing. Then again, I suppose I didn't mention any of this. That's why they could get away with this spin-off, I guess.
This prequel.
Prequel.
Yes,
Prequel-esque thing.
that's the only problem with prequels is obviously you can try and watch stuff back and go, oh, maybe that's a reference to it. Or reality is no, it's not, because they've only just come out with this idea. They're like, how can we prolong a franchise further? Let's throw in a prequel randomly in the middle of 2 movies and be like, this is what was happening after the end credits. After that scene at the end of the first Saw when he like, reveals himself, he's been lying on the floor the entire time. After that whole scene, this is what he's been doing between that and whatever he did in the second film, because again, I can't remember anything. The only one I remember literally is the first one, because it's the classic fucking sequences. Yeah. I remember a bit of the final chapter, because I remember the weird trap when those 2 guys like fucking stuck with the woman like in the middle, and they're like stuck in like a shop window, and they were like fucking Saw.
Oh yeah, and everyone's watching.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Well, mainly that bit. That's all I can remember, really. Obviously, the reverse bear trap, obviously, is an iconic thing which is referenced in this film, which I kind of remember. I remember the angel death, the copper, when it was rigged, if you remember that one. When she's strung
His ribs?
Her ribs, yeah, when it rips open.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
I remember that one, because obviously that links heavily to Amanda, who's obviously back for this installment, which isn't a spoiler, because in the trailers, it's fine.
She just looks way older than she should do. She's weird.
Yep, because obviously there's the problem of going, let's utilize the same person, which, you know, is cool for fans to go, oh, he's the same one. But as you say, in terms of timey-wimey stuff, it's like, yeah, she doesn't look anything like she did in that era.
Nope.
Looks like she just whacked like a wig on and has gone for it. But yeah, so like I remember that. I remember the plot of, I think it's the 6th one, which is like the guy who like fucked, like this company fucked over people in terms of like their housing stuff, like their loans and some shit like that. Like they're fucked over, and you have to try and basically go through this building and like try and rescue all the people that are trapped in there. I
can't remember the plot. I've definitely watched all of them. It's just trying to put plots to so what movie it is so hard.
See, obviously I remember Spiral, it's the most recent one, so that's the obvious one to go. Yeah, I remember that because I actually watched it within the last 2 years. And I remember Jigsaw, because Jigsaw's one I actually really enjoyed. But all the rest, like Saw 2, I remember obviously he dies at the end of Saw 3, that was it. I don't remember Saw 4. I don't remember Saw 5. I said, just about remember the plot of Saw 6. I can only remember the start of Saw 7, which is the final one. Like, it's hard, like, as you said with a lot of these movies, because we had this discussion the other day, and you said, with these movies, it's less, obviously, because I said, there is a story there is a story you can follow. It's not as if it's just like, death. It there is generally a story to follow as you're going along. But as you said, you always seem to go for these movies just to see what crazy contraptions they can come up with to try and kill people. And for me, this one doesn't go that crazy route, but it makes sense because it's that far back. Because it was realistic that the later movies, like, that started up in the ante in terms of the craziness of like the traps. So it makes sense that this would be not as crazy. I think the craziest one for me, really, trap wise, is, I won't go into too details, the one with the electrocution with the mask. But that's only just because of
and it like got the heating thing on the back of it, and it heats up.
Yeah, he's got the shock. He's got the collar on. You can see it in the trailer. He's got like a massive collar on. Obviously, when they did the brain trap. Like, that's probably the most crazy, just because when it shoots around, like, it's got like this really fucking crazy ass fucking mask. That's probably the craziest for me. Obviously, the eyeball one, which is the poster one, is kind of BS, which I won't go into detail about, but it's bullshit.
But he's by far still the best one, though.
It is the coolest, like, designed one, but it's just bullshit, if you know what I mean. But if you've seen this movie, you'll know exactly what we mean. I'm just trying not to spoil it, because then I can delete the spoiler title off the video. But yeah, so if you've seen this movie, you'll know what I mean by it's just bullshit. But without
spoiling anything, if you was in the trap, which this is the only trap I did tell D what happened. I won't tell what actually happens here. But I would have just turned it straight to 5.
Like, just fuck it.
Yeah, because it's better than doing it slowly, right? I don't understand the point of that.
And so I think we can say, like, the concept of the trap. So basically, the concept of the trap of the poster is, obviously, you got suction things on your eyes, and basically you got a dial, which is what's behind him, and you've basically got to turn the dial to number 5, and each time you turn it, your fingers basically break. And if you don't, then your eyeballs get whoop, sucked out, and, you know, you die. So I think I feel like we can get away with saying that, but without going into too much detail about the rest of like why it's happening and stuff, and like the aftermath of it. I think we can get away with saying the design of the trap, which is why we say it's the cool one, because obviously it's the poster shot of the tubes and the X. But yeah, like it's an interesting trap, and as you say, thing is though, it's one of those ones where you feel like you could do it, but when you're there, you're just like, no, I'm too scared. I think I'd be dead instantly in one of these Saw movies. I wouldn't be able to fucking do it. I hate pain. I stubbed my toe ever so slightly, and it's like, oh. And that's it, game over.
It's like I was saying to Dale, like some of the Saw traps in general are such like BS, because if you experience that much pain, you just pass out. There's no way in hell you could do some of this for anaesthetic. It wouldn't happen.
I won't say into too much detail, but I think for me, the one I say that with is the bomb one in this one. I won't go into too much.
Yeah, the bomb one kind of made no sense. I won't spoil it either, but obviously, like, how would you use your other arm? It made no sense. Hey, that's the first thing I thought.
Yeah, like you can, yeah, fair enough. You can do the one arm. I feel like you could do that, but the fact that it's like 2 arms, like
both, it's
like the biggest amount of bullshit. But so we won't go into too much detail. I won't explain the outcome of that trap. I won't explain the details of that trap or anything. But all we'll say is it involves bombs. But it kind of, when I was watching it, I was just like, the first one, yeah, okay, it's fine. I mean, he's probably gonna pass. He should really see. There should be some passing out from blood loss or whatever. But it's just the idea of, hey, the fuck, you mentioned the 2. Like, sure to God, your one arm would be fucked to the extent of, I can't do this anymore. Fuck this. But yeah, it's just, I do agree. Sometimes I feel obviously, yeah, obviously they do it to make you go, oh, that's fucking, oh, that's sick. Like, I mean, because the gore of this movie is pretty damn fucking good.
Yeah,
I mean, that sequence I'm talking about, the bomb, obviously, which involves like a knife in the arm. Like, you literally get to see like the knife in the arm, like the fucking twisting and turning, the blood squirting out. It's just like, ooh. And
I like the more use of, like, obviously the practical stuff. Like, obviously, you had still the spinny camera shots as they're doing stuff, but it is more focused. You can see what's actually happening rather than it being like, ooh, and you can't see anything. It's just blurry, motion blur as it spins around for like 30 seconds.
I think the only one for that is the end credit scene, isn't it?
Yeah, to be fair,
but that makes sense just because it's like they're not going to show you anything.
Or they're going to do like another one where it's going to start with that. Who knows what they're going to do? I don't understand where they're going to go from here. It's a bit weird.
And so it's weird, like, going this far back. I mean, I know why they've gone this far back, because I think pretty soon I read somewhere before the producers like spoke about the fact that they regretted killing him off in like the 3rd film, because I mean, he's like the big part, and then they always found ways like having him back via flashbacks, but it's always like his minions doing it for him. It's just like, it's not the same because as you see in this, like, it's very heavily character driven on Kramer. This one is. Like, it's crazy how much story focused this movie actually is. Like, it's usually these ones, you say, as I said, there is always a like story going on, but it's more heavily focused on the trap side of it, or the cops trying to solve who's doing this. Whereas this, it's generally heavily focused on him.
There's a lot of story in this. I like obviously there's a lot of explanation to why he's doing it in this one, whereas obviously in the other ones it's always like, oh, they wake up in the trap, you see the trap, and then it explains it. What?
Your Discord just like having a moment.
No, did you hear what I said or no?
Yeah, I can hear what you say. It's just like your videos, like you've been.
I don't know why.
You've been caught in the trap. You've lost.
I'm caught in a trap.
It usually fixes itself anyway.
I feel like the story in this is just obviously way better than any of the other films, because there is story, but it's always set. For example, they're in a trap, and it tries to explain the backstory, whereas this one's explaining the backstory of why he's caught him. It's not just like a little sequence.
Usually, like, these movies start straight on the trap. These movies pretty much usually. There you go. These movies usually kickstart instantly into a trap, and then it's usually the obviously the title comes up and then that's it. Whereas it's like it takes a while before you get your first trap. Like obviously not to spoil too much, but the eyeball trap is your first trap you're gonna get in this movie.
Yeah.
But it takes a while to get there because it's building up him a bit more. Obviously, showing why he's eventually gonna push to get this procedure, which I can get away with saying is bullshit for the fact that it's in the trailers. That you're like, there's a quote in the trailers like, "You really fucked with John." Basically, like, of all the people to mess with, you chose John Kramer.
John Kramer. Although that one guy keeps calling him Creamer, and it kept putting me off. Mr. Creamer. I thought, oh, don't call him that.
I think it's just the accent. That's why.
He definitely called him Creamer. There's no way he called him Kramer. It's just so he's like Mr. Creamer. In my head, I was like, oh no, he's like Mr. Whippy.
But yeah, I feel like this one definitely goes the route of the first one, which is more heavily. It's the story focus. I mean, really, the first one isn't it's not as torture porny as the later movies, if I remember correctly. And it's heavily focused on a police plotline, a bit like Spiral. It's focused on a police plotline of them trying to solve the case, which is the same with Jigsaw. Really, it's about them trying to solve who's doing these murders, who's doing this. Whereas this one, it eradicates any sort of police plotline. There's no need for police plotlines in this movie. It's more focused on him wanting to get a procedure, getting fucked over, and going for revenge. And then it's also obviously building up Amanda a bit more, showing her relationship with him, like how close she is to him, and just showing like how he got. Because obviously at this point, realistically, you wouldn't know how he's doing a lot of his stuff, like how he's getting away with a lot of it without anyone really catching him. Whereas this kind of shows you why at one point, which I won't say anything about, but there's literally it shows you how he was easily able to evade the law, how he's easily able to get away with doing all this without anyone catching him. This movie shows you it by the end of the film, so it's there to add that little information of, yeah, you learn it later on that, oh, this person was doing this, that's why he wasn't doing that. Whereas this is like, this is why. You already know it, but this is like this how like this is how it unfolds essentially, because this kind of shows you how it unfolds in terms of people helping him do stuff. Whereas usually it just like it happens. Whereas it's like it's showing all the this is how they go around getting everyone. This is how they do this. So I like that it shows you a lot of the behind the scenes magic essentially of how he basically just did everything. So I do like that. And say I'd say it's an entertaining film. Don't get me wrong, it's entertaining. I feel like if you're a big Saw fan, you'll probably be very into this. Like I can see why it's actually got really decent reviews for a change. I mean, as I said to you, it's like the first actual positively reviewed Saw movie on critically ever. And
I mean, are we going to give our overall view on this?
I feel like
where we rank it between all of them.
Oh fuck that! I don't remember any of them.
Because I'll put this one as probably, if not my favourite one, second just to the first one, just because I thought the first one was really good. But I think this one's so much better just because there's an actual story behind it. I don't think it's just jumping straight in with the gore and, oh, it's already been set up. This is like showing you him actually going in and setting it up. I like that. So I think this is probably one of the best ones.
Yeah, it's definitely for me like in the top 3 movies for me. So for me, my favourite is actually Saw, Jigsaw, and well, this one. So I definitely think it's up there, but I still won't go like ridiculously high of a rating on it because I'm just not a big Saw fan. I said to you the other day, I'm not a torture porn fan. I don't like Hostel. I think Hostel's a bag of shit. I'm not a big fan of a lot of the sequels to Saw. Like, don't get me wrong, I can see why people do fall in love with these movies. I can see why it's got a fan base because it is like kooky ass traps of like, oh, I see how they can get out of this. How they set this up and shit like that. Like, I can understand that, but I'm just not a big torture porn fan. It's like probably my least favorite like subgenre within the horror genre.
So I feel that's why this one and the first one, for example, are obviously my favourite ones because it's not obviously there is a story to make up for why there is fucking all this stuff going on. But obviously, with the later one, they literally just went for the gore factor of like, oh, okay, we're going to just do this because we can. It's not like a reasoning behind it, a lot of it. It's always some random excuse like, oh, you stole someone's purse, now I'm going to cut your fingers off. It's like, okay, like that person, like, that's a bit harsh for someone stealing a purse. Like, I don't know. There's like random bits and bobs, whereas this one actually kind of sets up why he's doing it all, and I don't think it is over the top. Obviously, everything's got to be over the top to have that like wow factor, but some of them are just like crazy.
Yeah.
I remember the first one. I can't remember why he's in the trap with the barbed wire with the fat dude. It's like he's never gonna get through the barbed wire, man. Like it doesn't matter how much he tries.
I can't remember. I can't remember a lot of them. I mean, most of them you can pick up at the moment, like on Amazon. For I think the whole set for like 20 quid. Like one to 9. So what basically from the first up to Spyro, you can get for like 20 quid on Amazon at the moment, which ain't a bad deal. But I don't know if I don't know if I'll sit for more because as I say, I'm not a big Saw fan, but I'll give credit for the first one. I'll give credit for Jigsaw because they handled those two very well. I didn't mind Spyro. I said to you, I know you hate, you're not a big fan of Spyro, but
It's not that I hate it. It's just that it doesn't. Obviously, I know it's like obviously a spin off, but it just feels so forced. Like the whole film's just very forced. And obviously, you got bloody Chris Rock, and it just doesn't. It just doesn't fit in the film at all. I just can't. I don't know. And Samuel Jackson's thrown in there.
just the same motherfucker. Oh, my bottle's leaking.
Yeah. Oh no! Don't drink the milk. The farts will ensue.
That's the point. Oh, it's fucking wet. The bottle is. It's just dripping everywhere. I need to put it on the floor.
I feel like surprisingly in this film there wasn't a lot of traps as well. Normally it's like seems like there's loads. This one, what, how many is in total? 5?
The eye trap, but
that don't really count, I guess.
For this sense of talk, if we just fuck that off the system, server count 1, 2.
Yeah, there's 5 traps.
3, 4.
But don't forget the last trap right at the end. Technically,
yeah, can you really count? Because you don't really.
He's a trap yourself.
It cuts away before anything even happens. So can you really count that?
What do you mean it cuts away? It doesn't. No, not the post-credit scene. There's a whole.
Yes, no, yes. I was thinking, I was like, how can you count that? It's literally like the choppiest of like.
No. Just like the actual kind of towards the end.
Yeah, no, it's about the
Yeah.
That's my way of not going into detail on what it is.
The old man in the bus stop.
But yeah,
my dad every night at work.
Hayden, every time I go try and get to sleep. Thankfully, she didn't hear me. She's just staring at me evilly.
She's watching it live right now. Oh no.
Wait, there's a slight delay. I get a chance to run. Oh wait, no, I'm Tom Holland this. I got no trousers on. Don't lie, you got the same.
No, I actually have my trousers on still.
This time.
Normally I don't. It's because we're live, I'm scared.
Scared to get your tackle out.
Yeah, you can cut it out normally. Can't cut it out now.
They can cut it out like the size of my oh, what's the guy say?
It's like a really tiny. Oh, the guy
literally makes quite like they cut the tumor out. It's the size of my fucking. The tumor out
size of my knob.
I was in my head. I was thinking. Because I looked at the sky, I was like, "Can't be a big tumor then." It's gonna be a tiny knob, little pecker.
The tiny boy.
I agree. It is probably one of the better ones because it holds back the torture porn. Yeah, it still goes for it when it wants to go for it, but it's not unnecessary. If you know what I mean.
It kind of feels like there's more of a purpose. Like he would want revenge in this one.
Yeah, that and just the idea of the traps don't feel as like over the top. Like they're not as. Yeah, they make sense for this movie's purpose, essentially. Oh, your camera's making you blink multiple times again.
I don't know why he keeps doing it. Nothing. He says I've got a perfect connection on this.
It's funny though, because it's just glitchy.
I don't know what's going on.
It's a shame we're not doing like a fucking movie about computers because they could be taken over. But the thing is, with this Saw franchise, I will note. You always know when you're coming to the end of the franchise when the music just hits.
Dun-dun-dun, Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Like, as soon as that music hits, you know you're coming to the end. So I was literally like, every time I watch a film, I was like, you know, I wonder how long this film's got left. Like, it's got to be almost done. And then with this one, your best bet is literally as soon as that music fucking drops, you're like, here comes the reveals. Reveal, 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 reveal. Movie over. Because I mean, it is a fucking solid like song.
Do you know one thing I like about this movie more than the others as well?
Yeah.
It didn't that stupid like time jump thing where like, oh, this all happened before and the whole time it's been set in the past. This is already the future. Like the first one does it. The coppers are searching for it, but they're never actually there because it already happened. Or this already happened.
The sixth one does it as well. Essentially, there's a lot of flashbacks to like building up the reasoning behind it, whereas this is like, no, we're showing you the reason. We're gonna go.
Which one's the one with the kid in the safe?
The
He's got the oxygen
second one.
tank. Yeah, that's another time one because technically he didn't have to do anything, and I swear most of them have like a time jump thing, but this one didn't, which is good. I like that he's actually there as well. You actually see him rather than him being like hidden and it's all the clown talking. He's actually there talking. But the thing is that I want to know is where the fuck did he get the clown from? Because he wasn't in his actual place. Did he just carry it with him?
What, the fucking the actual fucking puppet?
Yeah, because he didn't just take it with him. Surely, because he went all the way to Mexico for this.
Billy, isn't it?
I don't know. What's the clown called in Saw?
Is it Billy?
Tom thinks he's called Billy. Yeah, she said it is. As soon as I said it, her brain went bing. Yeah.
I was like, I'm pretty sure it's called Billy.
Okay, how did he get him? I'm guessing they'll explain
I'm
that.
guessing
Amanda bought him.
Yeah,
but he bought a whole tricycle over to Mexico.
Yeah, why not?
It just seems so silly.
You know why? You know why? Just so you can giggle while watching the movie. Because I could hear you next to me giggling when he was riding that little fucking trike.
It's so stupid.
Yeah, Billy the Puppet. I just wanted to double check. Well, triple check that we weren't just fucking saying something that was bullshit. But yeah, like I can hear you next to me just giggling when he's there, when he's got the little medication. He just comes riding in. I know the second time though, they don't bother doing it. He's just sat there.
Just there, yeah.
It's already happened. It's already rolled. He's already rolled in. He's just sat there waiting.
It's just like the least menacing thing. After all this stuff's happening, this little clown thing rides in with a little trolley on the back. It made me laugh. I was like, for God's sake.
It's like one of the most iconic things, though, isn't it? So that's the thing with this one as well. What I like is whenever you watch these, usually like everything's already in place. Like it's the bad guys are nowhere ever near. It's already set up. They may pop in like to try and fuck with it all at the end, but it's all usually like remotely done. Whereas this is literally he's watching them like face to face half the time. Like that's something different for me. Like it's something unique. It's which what makes this stand out a bit more over these other ones.
If there's one thing you could add to it, what would you do? Because I know exactly what I'd add.
What, to this movie?
Yeah, like a scene. Like if you could add an extra scene into it, because I know what scene would just fit perfectly, and it set the movie to get one higher rating for me if they did it. If they showed him actually building the traps, because it goes straight to it, it's already done, and I feel like how the hell did he have time to do this in this place he doesn't know? You know what I mean? It's like
Jigsaw. I remember there is a flashback sequence of showing him building a trap.
I think that's more interesting.
Showing it,
he's dying as
the notepads of showing that he's sketching the ideas. But I agree. Like it never shows you like how he's got this time to really like put this all together so quickly. I mean, he spends half the time really frail, almost falling over, and yet he has time to build these kooky ass traps.
And he can like manage to climb to the top of the rafters.
I'm guessing Amanda probably builds half these stuff for him.
But it'd be cool to show that, I guess. I think that would just top it off because it'd be like, oh, okay, well, it explains how this dying man set all these traps up. But he's literally like frail, like old man. He's literally like can walk at like 0.1 miles per hour.
So I feel like
although in the first, he's got cancer and man's running like a warrior in the first.
So I feel like
saying Bolt.
I feel like obviously one thing I don't really know what scene I'd put in, to be fair. As I say, being not a massive Saw fan, I can't really say what scenes I put in. But what I will say is, one thing hating a lot now, especially the horror movies, when you've got someone that's like killed so many people. Yeah, I know it's the idea of he's built a trap, so it's 50-50. You got a chance of getting it if you do it right. But yeah, you're still supplying them with the. It's still like you still get done in a court of law for basically what you're doing here.
So the whole thing of like, oh, they turn it on themselves so you can't get prosecuted, but he can. Man's put them in the trap. He's already kidnapped them, so yeah, of course he can.
It's one thing I hate is that they try and make you very sympathetic to the villain, because the idea is this: there's the other, especially a lot of these Saw ones. There's these people that are trapped in the traps are usually the big villains, essentially. Like, yeah, technically, like Jigsaw and like his minions are villains, but they always build like the people up as, oh, these are despicable people for this reason. So it's kind of like, okay, fair enough. I don't mind they're gonna die, but this one heavily like tries to make you feel so bad for him. Like, oh, these people have fucked you over. Yeah, okay, they deserve to die. Oh, they've fucked over like God knows many other people as well. They definitely deserve to die. I hate the fact that they're trying to make you feel sympathetic. I mean, even for a kid in at one point, it's like, he's like, don't do this. I save you, my boy. And it's just like, why have we got to feel sympathetic for a fucking psychopath? Like, they did it with Don't Breathe 2. That's another fine example. They did, the first one was built up as, it's a blind man. So, okay, at first you feel sympathetic. You're like, okay, it's a blind man. And then he kills the guy. Whoa. Okay, I can let it slightly go, because technically speaking, the guy had a gun to you, and like, okay, I can let it slightly go. And then they're bringing the daughter situation, like he's got a girl tied up in his fucking basement.
Yeah.
And he's like trying to impregnate her and whatnot. It's like, okay, now I've lost all sympathy for this guy. This guy's a psychopath. Like, he deserves everything that's coming his way. And then the second one's like, yeah, no, after all that what he did there, yeah, I don't care. Now he's got to protect this little girl's life. Like, he's now a good guy trying to protect this girl's life. Yeah, he knows he's done bad stuff, but come on, he's got to look at this little girl's face. He's got to protect her, and it's like that with this. And it's just like, why are we trying to make me feel sorry for a guy that's literally torturing people to the point of death? Yeah, they've done bad stuff. Don't get me wrong, but torture.
It's always something stupid as well. Like in the first one, doesn't he get the one dude because he's like been cheating on his wife or something? Isn't that like a whole reason why he's got him tied up?
No, that's the guy who was like the one that basically gets. Which one
cuts his leg off.
Oh, the one that in the scary movie version is fucking Dr. Phil.
Yes, isn't he the whole reason he's there because he's like cheating on his wife or something, and then it's like he's like the hospital done something, but he's really minute stuff, and then the other guy's there because he's like taking pictures and stuff, and I don't know, he just seems very.
No, the other guy's there because he wrote the movie.
Oh yeah, but to be fair, the first one can get away with it because it wasn't just like a student movie, but it does more things right than most of the big sequels. I swear it was like a student project, and it did really fucking well.
It was obviously a project made. I mean, this was made in the cheap. I mean, it's already made its budget back.
That's the thing, though. To make a decent Saw film, all you need is somewhat of a story. You don't need a massive budget. You just need some cool ass traps, and you just need like a good ending. And I feel like that was the biggest letdown for me. I don't think the ending was amazing.
Yeah,
I think it was very lackluster.
I think they built it up as like a big thing, and it just like it wasn't like. For example, if we look at the first one when he gets up and he like shuts the door and he's like,
"Game over."
Whoa! And then Jigsaw did the same sort of thing with when the guy he stands there, it gets up after everything's all happened. Again, another bullshit situation. He's like, "I speak for the dead." He slams the door shut, and he's like, "Whoa!" And then even Spiral recently, if you think about it, had like quite a decent like moment, obviously with Sam Jackson getting gunned down and everything. And it's like a big moment of like Chris Rock screaming like because he's just watched his dad die, and he's literally watching the killer get away, and the cops are doing nothing. Like, it's a big moment. But this is just like, I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa.
And then that's so after the post-credit scene, and just like, okay, now we're back, and it's not a happy ending.
Realistically, that should have been the ending of the movie. But I felt they could have done, because I mean, realistically, with the ending, without spoiling anything, I mean, like, for a fact that we know one thing, like, I can't say because it's going to spoil it. I can't say it. No, forget it. I can't say it because it'll spoil it. We're trying to basically go spoil it. No spoilers, so I can delete the spoiler review off it and just call it review.
Well, the thing is as well, obviously knowing this is set between the first and second one, he's not going to die.
Yeah,
So
that's why I hate.
There's another.
See, I love prequels because you can add so much more lore into a franchise like this. I mean, it's at number 10 now. This is the 10th one. You kind of either go forward and do sequel to, say, Jigsaw, or you go spin-off route of how Spiral did, do another Spiral movie, or just do movies very reminiscent of someone copycatting Jigsaw, or you go a prequel route. But that's the problem with prequels. You're doing it, but you know for a fact, like, there's a whole sequence in this thing, like, oh, is he going to die? And reality is just sitting there going, no, he's not, because he fucking doesn't die till, like, the third film. I say, which, there's another one that did Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They rebooted it in 2003, which was a really solid reboot. I fucking really do enjoy that movie. And then, I think like 3 or 4 years later, they threw out a prequel called Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. It was set before the first one, and basically, no matter every time you're watching, it's like every moment, like when he's like life or death for Leatherface, it's like no, because I know he's literally like in the next one.
Yeah.
But I mean, fair play. Fair with that one, they had like probably one of the best endings. Like the ending was like whoa. But that is the general problem. It's not just with horror movies; it's with like prequels in general. Whenever you see someone, you always know that they're not gonna lose this moment. They're not gonna die here because you've seen them in sequels. You know that they're gonna get through this fine. Yeah, they might have a few knocks and scrapes and whatnot, but they're still gonna get through it. As we said with this, with obviously Amanda and John Kramer. No matter what you see going down in this, you're like, they're gonna be fine. We literally know that in the next installments, we know going forward they're like they're still gonna happen. Like even if they did this as set for the first one, you still know he's gonna be fine. But as I say, it's just that's just the general problem with prequels. But there's the bonus of you can add more lore into a franchise, and that's what this movie is there for. It's there to add more about his cancer side of it and showing how really untreatable it is, and the fact that there is people out there that could take advantage of that. So yeah, prequels are always hit or miss, but the idea behind them is usually a good idea, just to flesh out a franchise. It'd be like if they tried to throw in like a Friday the 13th movie or a Halloween movie set between two other another entry. Like, yeah, we know the heroine or the survivor might get out of this situation, but we know if Michael gets fucking downed and looks like, oh, he's just had his head blown off. Fucking, but I know he's back in the fucking next one. Fuck that. Somehow his head's gonna fucking end credits in head forming back up. Fucking told ya. Like you know what's gonna happen, which is why this movie would have worked best as being released after the first one. But here's a question for you: if this movie was released after the first one, do you think it would have had a good of a story, or do you think they would have just done what they did with the actual second one and onwards, just go for more of the torture porn angle?
It would have come more of torture. I feel like obviously the first one was only decent, well, good because it had somewhat of a story. It wasn't the best story, but it was good for the time. It was like a new kind of thing. We never really had anything that was like this other than Hostel. It was Hostel after the first one.
Hostel was 2000 and was it 5? I want to say off the top of my head. I'll Google for you, sir, right now.
Go on then, get on it, sir.
Hostel was 2005. Saw was 2004, so Hostel was a year after Saw.
So obviously Saw was like the first one to properly do the whole torture thing. I think that's why it was. That's why the first one's probably the best one for me, because the first thing I watched and I was like, whoa. I mean, even though I was technically it's 2004, I was only like 6, 7. I was watching Saw. Probably shouldn't be watching. Probably shouldn't have watched it, but it is pretty good.
I mean, I say I have my limits in horror films. I could watch certain ones, but I mean that was probably a bit too far for me, realistically. I think even at that point, I don't think I was watching horror films. I think it was quite a few years late, a couple of years after that, I started watching them.
But it's not one of films where
I was more into the Alec Baldwin Thomas Tank Engine movie.
Yeah, it's not scary at all. It's just gory. Like, there's no point in it where I'm like, oh, it's scary. It's not really horror. It's just gore.
No comment on that.
I mean, I did listen, but I was
I said I was more into the Alec Baldwin Thomas Tank Engine movie. I was just waiting for him to shoot that train.
it's only an accident. Mr. Baldwin, you're in a trap.
But yeah, I agree. It's definitely a better Saw movie, and I could definitely see why it's getting this high praise from not just the audience but critics. Like, I feel like if this went more the torture porn angle, like there's a lot more torture porn in it, I think they may have been a bit more held back on reviews. But I think because this one, it's more the story's the focus than the torture porn angle. I feel like that's why it's getting the focus. See, that's the thing. Spiral went for that same thing. It went for the more focus on the story rather than torture porn. Because realistically, I mean, that's like probably one of the tame ones. Spiral was. I felt that was a very tame Saw movie. Maybe that's why I enjoyed it a bit more. It's very tame. But obviously, the story wasn't that great. It was okay, but it wasn't amazing. Whereas this one is going for a much more better story, going for the same idea, but still showing more of the torture porn angle that movie missed. Like that one had some moments, but it was more like editing. Like it was fucking quick, and the traps weren't as brutal. Whereas this one, I mean, you can see brain, you see legs coming off, you see fucking faces melting. Like you see stuff like that. Like it's quite hardcore, which is why it's definitely an 18. Like I can't see why you shouldn't be anything less than an 18, because it's definitely pushing for all that
crazy shit.
But it's still pushing heavily on its story front, which, as I say, I feel like that's what makes it very unique. It managed to juggle both sides of it really good. Like with the first one, it juggled the story well. Obviously, the torture porn angle wasn't as heavy, especially at that time. Whereas this one, obviously, it's got the good story again, but it does well juggling that torture porn. Like the brutalityness of it is like very heavy, hands-on with the practical side of it, and it does well of managing to keep both sides of this equation, story, torture, really well intertwined. That there's no real issues. So, George, I want to hear your rating for this, sir. Give me a rating.
I said I think I'd give it a 7. 7 or 8 out of 10.
Any particular? Are you going exact points, or are you going to like?
I'll give it 7.5 because I was going to give it like between 8 and 7 anyway. So I'll go 7.5. I'm
going to agree with you on that one.
I think it's a decent. I think it's decent. I liked it better than Spiral.
Yeah, I
liked it. Also, I didn't like it as much as the first one, but I preferred it more than the rest. So
I'm definitely.
I'll give it 7.5. It's a decent one.
I'm definitely going to agree with you a 7.5 there. Just as I say, I'm not a big Saw fan, but I will give credit where credit's due for a really entertaining movie, and this was. It had the story, it had the gore factor. I mean, I'm good with gore, but I was squirming at some points in there. I was like, ooh.
I was watching you squirm. I can't remember which one it was now. I think it was
that's the one that got me the most.
I saw you go, and then I think the first one as well with the leg. I think you used on that one.
When you can see the blade go. I was like,
yeah.
That one was less of more. It was more of a.
I like the practical effects on that though. When she's getting towards like the end, and obviously you can see the skin stretching. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Like I say, I think the practical side of the stuff was good in this one.
I said that trap
wasn't as spinny camera.
That trap was less me being like, oh no. That was more me going, that's pretty cool. But as I said, the brain one for me was definitely making me go, no.
I think the biggest problem with this one, and I have it with every Saw film, there's no way in like the time limit he gives them would you be able to do it. Mentally you got to get yourself in the headspace to do it anyway,
which this shows. It takes them about a minute before they go, let's do this, and by the time they get to the point of where it has to like dissolve in this liquid, or it's got to weigh itself out, by the time it gets to that point,
it's never gonna happen.
You got like a second, game over.
Because like the thing is, obviously in some of the other Saw movies, they're really reluctant to do it, but they get quite a while. They get like a decent amount of time to do it. In this one, even with them being like, "Oh, I don't want to do it," they end up doing it quite quick. And the really obviously we know most of them going to die. Saw
So
movie. They still don't get away with it.
so it
They
gives
end up
them
dying.
3 minutes, I think it is each. I think the only one that doesn't get a time limit is the third one in that situation. Like she doesn't get a time limit.
Yeah, because it's kind of like that one's.
I feel like there still probably could have been like it's essentially not a time limit of, oh, it's a time limit of when the trap's gonna fully get you if you don't do this. Like it's more a time limit of if you don't do it in this time, then there's probably no going back for you, if you know what I mean. I feel like that they still could have put some sort of time limit just to show there's no going back here. If you get past this point, I'm not gonna. Basically, the trap's not gonna fully kill you. But what's going on here is basically, even if we get you to a hospital, you're pretty much gonna die. But I do like that with this one. You do get to. It does show you that he's a man of his word. If you pass your trap, you're gonna be fine. You know, not mentally. You're fucked mentally. I mean, you see it with one situation. I'm not going into detail about it, but you see it with one situation where they managed to get through the trap. I generally thought everyone was going to survive a trap at one point. When it was very much looking like it, I was like, wow, we're going to get a sort from where everyone survives the trap, so that's going to be a weird one. But obviously you get one at least, just there to show you more of, they weren't as... Well, it's more there to show you what will actually happen if you pass. And how different he is to Amanda. Whereas she builds her traps to fully, fuck you over. Whereas he builds his traps as the test. And as I say, when you get to see at least one of these, what happens if you pass the test?
Problem is though, with this, he's obviously in the other ones. You never see his face. He's always hidden. So if they get out, they can't turn him in. But they all see his face. So if they got out, they just turn him in.
So it's like,
yeah, what happened? John Kramer had me. Oh, okay, we're going to arrest him. I just don't understand how the premise is one, because obviously that's the only thing that I was like, well, how can he show his face from? Because now they know.
Unless
obviously in the later ones with Amanda, she could show her face because there was definitely going to die. Do you know what I mean? In this one, if it got out,
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it makes that bit threw me off. I was like, that makes no sense.
I don't know. Actually, to be fair, how you'd work around that.
I've ruined it for you now.
Yeah, my mind's like trying to actually place that into like that's true. How the fuck? Like, did you expect them to die from the traps? Because I mean, he literally is like kind of at one point watching like he's like shame like situation like especially the one where you get to see it's like okay we need a hospital now. It's like okay so how the fuck have they not like dubbed you into the coppers? Like I agree with you there. It's definitely strange that he's flashing his face. Like you still would have thought like maybe like wear a mask or something of it. I don't know. It's you broke my immersion there. Like it's like broke my mind.
Because I see it on someone's for the last one, but a certain person survives the last one as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, but the first
one as well.
The one that's there to show you what happens if you can survive.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I agree. I agree with what you're saying there. It's like what the fuck. Like should have got that like go W in. Unless
then again, he's in Mexico, so he's not. He can't get arrested in America for it. He's fine.
That and maybe it's the case of if they dob him in, like he could basically be like, "Oh, that's a bullshit. I didn't do anything," and then just go, "But these people have been doing this." So maybe it's the case of they wouldn't dob him in over the fact that he might dob them in for basically what they've been doing.
I feel like it'd be harder to prove that they was fucking bodging like fake surgery than it is to find out he's actually murdering, kidnapping people. I think that'd be a bit easier to prove.
Well, I mean, they quickly found proof that they had like a whole fucking list of people that had basically paid for this, and then next minute they died. So
it is a weird.
And he has people in the police that can easily fucking cover shit up if needs be.
Yeah, but not everyone in the police. And that's like the one dude.
Yeah, but maybe like I'm guessing like he'd think that maybe he'd be like covering it up by just doing something normally, but reality is he's probably just going around popping on one. So basically, even if you survive the sword trap, you're just gonna get popped by the popo.
Yeah, to survive the whole thing, and as soon as he leaves, you go bang.
No witnesses, motherfucker. Da-da-da. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying. It's yeah. You just broke my mind.
It's still a good film though,
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
still a good
definitely
film.
one thing that threw me off. I was like, well, how can you show his face? These have to die now.
Yeah. Can you think of anything else, or can you
I can't think of anything else for this film, but I wanted to say one thing for Spiral, which I just remembered, and it makes me laugh every time talking about something that's going to break your immersion. Do you know the guy who's in the train station? He's got his tongue tied to the thing.
the first trap? Yeah.
Yeah. How the hell do they know when he's going to wake up? Because the times of the trains don't change. So how the hell they're going to plan exactly when he's going to wake up? Because he's been drugged, he's not just going to wake up on
Unless
time, is he?
they put a certain amount in, so basically.
Yeah, but he's perfectly on time. She says the whole thing. Oh, the train comes at this time. It's like you're breaking it.
It's a movie. Sometimes you have to blank stuff. I do have a question for you though.
Go on then.
How do you think this franchise has managed to survive this fucking long? Like, it's 10 years next year. Like, how do you
Because
think...
everyone just wants to see new crazy stuff. There's nothing else in the cinema that's this like this. I guess. I mean, what other film does this other than Hostel? And that's dead.
It's died after the second one because the third one was a straight to DVD movie.
Yeah, but so just does something to people.
Terrifier.
I mean,
Terrifier is very like fucking.
Yeah, I guess
brink
so.
Of
But that's
torture porn
also
at some points. It's a slasher
that's another
film,
one.
but it's on the brink of torture porn at times.
See, I'll give that different though, because a lot of reason why obviously Terrifier did really well was a lot of social media presence, whereas Saw didn't really have that in the early days. So I don't know how it really boosted like as big as it was. Obviously Terrifier, I mean, when that film came out, I saw it everywhere, every clip of that film. I basically watched the whole film on TikTok at one point because it's just clips of clips, you know what I mean? So it's like, but whereas Saw, when that first came out, and obviously up to this one, yeah, they have social media presence, but it's not as big as some films. I mean, look at Barbie and Oppenheimer, how the media presence was on that. Like, that was crazy, like the whole thing. Where's this one?
Saw Patrol.
What have we seen? Yeah, but that was like nothing compared to like
Saw
that.
Patrol. I think I saw that one. We missed our screen of Paw Patrol, which is sad.
Oh no.
So that was the big thing, was that you meant to go watch Saw and then jump into Paw Patrol, but sadly we missed it. I mean, technically speaking, we've got Paw Patrol, and this is a sequence of like a veterinarian with dogs.
Yeah.
They're
There's probably more of a story in Paw Patrol.
They're the Paw Patrol crew. They're in the kennel.
Did they kill the dogs as well? That's
I don't know. Maybe it was the case. Either she just showed her face and went, rah! And they're like, oh, fucking hell.
Pig walks in. Hello.
Or either that, or obviously they said when the mask come in, they're like, what the fuck, and just whimpered. Or she just fucking went around tasering every single one of them.
Right, I'm gonna give you. I keep breaking immersion, but I always do this in films that kind of throw me off. Right, the one girl that gets captured in the toilet. I won't spoil it too much.
The one gets smashed in the face.
Yeah, how does the pig get into the nightclub without anyone noticing? And this drugged up girl being dragged out from the nightclub by a huge big lady. Not going to make any sense. At least the other ones, like obviously the ones at the house, ones in the car,
yeah,
the ones at his business, whatever. Like this one just makes sense. I was like, why didn't they catch him together? Because obviously at one point they was in the same.
My guess maybe is obviously they didn't fully come in wearing the outfit. More than likely they smuggled the outfit in somehow, and on the way out, maybe they ditched the outfit somewhere. Maybe they got like a million pig heads they keep putting on. They ditched the outfit somewhere. They didn't even
need the outfit though, because they showed the face anyway. So what's the point of wearing it?
My guess with the getting her out the club was a case of, oh, my mate's a bit, tipsy. Oh, she's had a few drinks. She's out cold. Or
so they never only need just a pig mask anyway. Because in the other ones, you only wear it because they can't show their identity. In this one, they show them who they are anyway.
That'd be my guess for how they get out, and my sort of reference. That one I can kind of maybe fix in terms of actual logic, but I can't fix the tongue one. I can't fix the other one, which was the one.
Oh god, you're making me forget now.
What was
obviously showing the face, not
that was
reported to the police.
That was it. That one. They're getting reported to the police one. Yeah, I can't fix that one with logic, and I can't fix the other one with logic. I can definitely fix the nightclub one with a bit of logic. But yeah, it is definitely crazy that it's managed to last 10 years nearly. And it's in very rare company of a horror franchise that's actually managed to go fucking 10 entries. Can't think of the only ones I can think of that I know off the top of my head that have at least 10 entries are Friday the 13th and Halloween. I can't think of horror movies with 10 or more films. Would help if I could spell. I know the Conjuring universe is very close. Fucking man, Hellraiser's got to be at least 10, hasn't it? Actually,
Hellraiser's literally only got like one good film there. The rest are dreadful, and the spin-offs are pretty bad. Actually, I think the latest one was meant to be alright, wasn't it?
it was alright to prefer the latest one. Again, that's another franchise I'm not a big fan of, but I do like the new one.
Freddy Krueger got a Nightmare on Elm Street decent run.
Aliens has 8. The Alien franchise has 8 movies. Child's Play has 8 movies. Texas Chainsaw Massacre has 9. Nightmare on Elm Street has 9. So it's not a 10.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna say Nightmare on Elm Street is pretty
Saw
good.
has 10 now.
Is that including the new one as well? The remake of Nightmare on Elm Street?
Children of the Corn has 11. So that's a franchise that's just over 10. Hellraiser has 11. Friday the 13th has 12, sadly. One away from 13.
But the problem is a lot of these are including spin-offs, whereas this is 10, but this is 10 in the same storyline.
No.
I guess. This isn't.
Spiral counts as 9.
Spiral wasn't. Oh, so.
Spiral counts as a 9th film.
I didn't. Oh, that's a bit pipper.
Yeah,
what
Halloween,
about,
Halloween has 13 movies. Puppet Master has 15. That's the highest, longest one, Puppet Master. It has 15 movies. It's the biggest franchise in terms of horror. But yeah, it's crazy. It's joined a very small company of horror movies that have managed to at least get to 10. Obviously, movies outside of horror do it all the time. Like Marvel movies, DC movies, they always get fucking. It's a massive franchise, but it's in very rare company of horror that has done it.
Saw 3D. I don't remember that one.
Saw 3D was the final chapter. That was Saw 7. Saw 8 was the Jigsaw. Saw 9 was Spiral, and Saw 10 was Saw 10.
I forgot. Chester was in there from Linkin Park.
In what?
In the 3D one.
Oh.
Chester Bennington. He played one of the characters, didn't he?
But yeah, is that everything then? We all done?
Yeah,
all
I
done
think
our
so.
first live podcast. I don't think anyone even tuned in for a change. Oh well.
Just thought two weirdos talking. It's like, yeah, forget it. I ain't clicking on that.
Oh well, we did better on the fucking the audio files anyway. But yeah, so if you've seen Saw X, do put it in the comments below. Your thoughts on it, where you'd put it in terms of the franchise ranking, and how well you think it'll do at the box office, because it's obviously opened up against Paw Patrol, which has so far been the better draw.
It's kids' fun though. It's kind of the bed, like we
plus,
said.
you've also got The Exorcist and the Taylor Swift thing coming out within the next 2 weeks. So
The Exorcist is obviously more of a horror film though. So if you're really into horror film, you'd probably choose that over this one. Whereas horror to me didn't really do much, so this one is better for me, I guess. But then again, I think Paw Patrol would have topped both of them. So.
I just realised I completely forgot to do the chat cave overall average, but there's no point because it was a 7.5 anyway.
Yeah, so it's pretty much identical.
There's no point me even trying to fucking put it in. But yeah.
Well, I'm going to mess it up. I'm putting mine at 7.4 now.
No! That means it's 7.45, which makes it 7.5.
No!
So either way, I win, bitch!
God damn it.
But yeah, so we hope you enjoyed, and, I think video game horror gaming is our next category, which we'll do pre-recorded.
Hell yeah!
Because we actually have time, and not just go, fuck it, we'll just in the movie. Let's go fucking just talk about it.
Get it out, boys.
Let's talk about it for an hour, which we have, minus 70 minutes of us just sitting there in the background doing nothing.
Technical difficulties.
Yep. We apologise for any technical difficulties during this live stream. It's a
Sorry.
bit different to just gaming because I've got to rely on 2 cameras here working perfectly.
Yeah. And mine's always seems to be ass on Discord. I don't know why.
Yours seems to always just glitch out.
It's always on Discord. It's always fine everywhere
Yeah.
else. Just Discord always messes mine up.
But yeah, we hope you've enjoyed our ranting and raving and reviewing of Saw X, and we shall hopefully see you next time. Go on, can I give us a peace out?
Peace out, motherfuckers.
Da-na-na, da-na-na, da-na-na-na-na.
The whole time, but now I'm alive.